Hey, welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover, the first episode of season 3, System of a Down. Great freaking record right there. I'm gonna blow that up. Mine's out in the truck.
This was
I
had to dig that one out of the depths of my vintage CD collection to find that one.
I had to dig mine out again too. It was out in the boxes.
I forgot how good it was.
Yeah,
it's just the front cover though.
Yeah,
I bought that album with Toxicity when Toxicity came out. So that came out in late 2001.
Yeah.
And I think my buddy says, "Hey, is there like a mall around here?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Let's go." So we went up and we stopped. There was a Circuit City. We stopped at the Circuit City, and that was one of many trips to Circuit City.
Oh my God, Circuit City! Wow.
Throughout college and
Blast fast.
Yeah. How about it? I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of money at that trip. But I bought the self-titled, Toxicity, and Slayer's Rain and Blood. I remember that vividly. And listened to that shit because he had just helped me because I had an 86 Pontiac 6000. I don't know if you remember those. They were kind of like a celebrity. Yeah. But we had to take the old unit out and put a CD player in it, and he helped me put that in. And then this was probably 2 weeks later that we went up there and got those and listened to them on the way home. I was like, it was like a punch in the throat.
Yeah.
I was fortunate, not just in meeting my friend James. You know, I had this like massive influx of bands and music just coming at me, and we listened to the first one first, and I was like, this. I'd never heard anything like it before. It was so unique and so different, and I know they tend to get classed with new metal, and I hate that term. Yeah. I think it's the dumbest fucking term they could have ever come up with.
Yeah, I agree.
They're their own thing.
It's yeah. I mean,
alternative metal or something.
Yeah,
not
new metal is like Limp Bizkit, right?
Yeah,
Corn.
Yeah.
They're not that at all.
No.
They don't have a DJ, so even if they would be.
My experience with this album, it was 98. I guess the year it came out.
Yeah.
Is when I got this album. And a friend of mine had to stop at a friend of his house to pick up some musical gear. This guy was a bass player, and we stopped at his house. And he's like, "Hey, have you guys heard this album?" I'm like, "No, I never heard of this band at all." Oh, he's like, "Sit down, brace yourself. This shit's amazing." So he put it on, and it literally blew my mind. Like you said, never heard anything like that before.
Yeah,
so unique. It was like, holy crap. And about the middle of that year, I went to Ozfest, and they were playing at that Ozfest.
They were on that tour.
And I do not remember seeing them. I think I got there a little late. They might have already played because we had a debacle on the show. Like, we were so excited to see Ozzy the night before that we stayed up most of the night. And then we got in the car and we started driving. And we drove. We got almost up to Brooksville, and the show was in Orlando. We were going the wrong way.
Yeah.
like over an hour the wrong way. And I was tired. I was falling asleep while driving,
Good time.
next to a cop, So we finally get there, and it's like, I forget who was playing, but supposedly I saw Motorhead and stuff like that, but I don't remember much about the show because I was so tired. Except for I do remember seeing Tool, Soulfly, Ozzy, and Limp Bizkit and Seven Dust.
Nice.
From that show, but they played, so I don't remember seeing them. I might have saw them, just don't remember. Or I might have got there a little late.
There was different stages though in that for that,
Yeah,
right?
there was two. There was a main stage and a second stage.
And they were
Which
on
is
the
weird
on
too.
the
Is the second stage like Motorhead was like on the second stage, like the headliner of the second stage.
So System of a Down was on the main stage.
Yep.
My history with this album goes way back to March 14th, where I do this show every couple of Sundays. No, every 2 Sundays now. We used to do it on Saturdays. We're gonna try to keep it going, a little consistent. But yeah, man, good times.
Yeah, the only other thing that I can compare this album or the band itself to would maybe be Faith No More, because there's a lot the similarities between Serge and Mike Patton's styles is, I don't want to say striking, but there's similarities because both of them can change on a dime.
Yeah,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, that goes for the whole band too. It's like, 1 minute they're playing one style, and the next minute they're playing a totally different genre.
The change ups, and it all starts with this album. I mean, it progresses throughout their other albums,
and that's what blew my mind with, because the first song when I went to the dude's house when he was telling us about it, he put on Sugar. So that was the first song that I heard from him. I'm like, damn, that's some crazy stuff right there. Just I don't know, he's all over the place with his vocals. Such a wide range of singing to growling to shouting to, I mean, he does it all in this album, Serge.
To laughing in a snort.
Yeah, that's probably one of my highlights of the album is the.
I love that. He's like, so fucking great, and
that's brilliant to do something like that in the middle of a song during like a break is like, I don't know, it's freaking brilliant. This album is brilliant. I'm glad we got to listen to it again because, like I said, that's the first time I heard that album in like 20 years.
Yeah.
How many albums did they put out altogether? They're not around anymore, right?
I kind of fell off I think they are. I don't know.
Are they still?
I kind of fell off the wagon when their third album came out. I think that was Toxicity.
And why was that?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess it just got too mainstream sounding, I guess, for me.
I think they have 5 albums, but one of them's technically like a compilation of B-sides and unreleased shit. Like I know the one called Steal This Album is like it's got a bunch of like some of the demo stuff and that. I lost my train of thought.
We've been up for like 24 hours.
Yeah. It wouldn't be cover to cover if I didn't lose my train of thought. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. A lot of people kind of discount some of Darren Malakian, the guitarist. He does a lot of the vocal stuff in the background as well, and a lot of people unfortunately tend to put that to the vocals that Serge is doing all the vocals, and That's not always the case. I mean, Darren in his own right does a lot of stellar vocals, especially like the Mesmerized, Hypnotized albums. He did a lot more singing on that album, on those albums. But the socio-political aspects of the stuff that they write, from touching on media hypocrisy and conspiracy theories and war, and it's just they they tend to get compared with
totally right
with Rage Against the Machine, and a few other bands of that same caliber, and I think, unlike Rage Against the Machine, they don't have as much of the kind of hip hop influence. And that definitely sets them aside. Like Boat said, they're their own category. And I've heard a lot of people call them an Armenian metal band, and they're like, it just happens that we're a band and we just happen to be all Armenian descent. I mean, that's not, it doesn't have any bearing on the type of band we are. And I was surprised to find out that the lead singer is like 8 years older than everybody else in the band. I mean, there's a huge age gap, and he had already graduated high school when the other three were still coming up. And I don't know if you guys watched that documentary. And the documentary was pretty cool.
I didn't get to finish. I started watching it a little because I had a busy day today, so I kind of had a late start on watching it. So I watched probably the first 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
And then you switched over to the UM game, and the Hurricanes are in the Final Four. Yeah, baby.
No comment.
Go Canes, baby. The U. Final Four. Yeah, baby.
I'll be glad when March is over. Anyway.
We're watching the UM in the Final Four from MegaCon on Saturday. Yeah, baby. Go Canes. I'm gonna be ripped. Oh, Nelly.
Oh, that's terrible.
Well, have you heard this album before?
No, I thought Toxicity was their debut.
Okay.
I didn't know they did anything before that, because I was kind of familiar with their second album. I heard most of the songs off that, but this one was completely new. So
The better of the two, I think. That debut album is just hard to touch. Same thing with Korn.
Yeah.
Korn, their debut album is like hands down still good, but once you get past the second album, they kind of
I feel that way about Pearl Jam.
They change. They change with the with their popularity, I guess, their success.
It just gives more feel amazing to these bands that just have the longevity, because a lot of bands come out with a big first album. It's it's raw, it's who they are, and then they they change and they're not as good. But bands like, going back to the Beatles, man, coming out with Abbey Road and all these later on, dude, that's special.
Which I don't have a problem with a band growing and changing their style, but
But like some bands, it feels like they're doing it because they're big, and either because they can, or they just makes them easier to listen to. I don't know.
Or they hit a groove, man, and hey, this is what works. We're gonna keep cranking out the same thing for 20 years.
Yeah, try and make it more radio friendly.
Yeah. So, some bands just like to experiment. Case in point, Megadeth. I don't know if you've ever heard their album Risk, but that's exactly what it was. And I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Is that yeah, I think I know.
And sometimes those experiments hit, and sometimes they miss.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
One thing also about this album that was kind of cool is like when I first heard them for that first time, I had no idea what these guys looked like. And then so when you finally see them, it's like, well, I didn't expect that out of those guys, you know, especially the singing. The singing's like amazing.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't really see that with, I mean, they're from Lebanon, I think. Two of the guys.
Two of them were born in Lebanon and immigrated, and one was born in Armenia, and I think it was Shava, the bassist, was his parents were from Armenia, but he was actually born in Glendale, California.
Glendale Boulevard.
But that's something that a lot of people don't know, that there's a significant Armenian population in the Glendale area, Glendale, LA area, and that was part of the driving force behind their start. I mean, it's that area enough is a hotbed for rock, heavy metal, anything like that. But to have that extra push, because the Armenians tend to stick together, and they got a lot of support from their friends, family. Their family would go to their shows and just kind of basically, you know, cheer them on, root for them, so forth. And to have that extra push to get it out there and attract people like Rick Rubin, who was at that point was a veteran in the industry. Mm-hmm. And he actually had to prove that he was, because at first they turned him down. They weren't gonna go with him, and then they had a meeting, and they came out of the meeting feeling good about it, and they said, yeah, we'll work with you, sign with Rick Rubin. And he was adamant that he was going to produce the album. He's the owner, but he was going to produce it, be in the studio and producing it with them. So it's their debut album, System of a Down. They started out in the mid '90s as a band called Soil, believe it or not, which is one of the tracks on this album. It was released. I didn't see recording, but I'm assuming it was probably recorded late '97, early '98. It was released June 30th, 1998. So it's coming up on its 25th anniversary. So make me feel old. Thank you very much, fellas. Recorded at Sound City Studios in Van Nuys, and the mansion. The mansion is of course Rick Rubin's abode, and that was where they recorded a lot of the vocals. They went in and there was a room that wasn't specifically set up for sound, but they set it up for they set a tent up, and they had certain types of furniture to get a certain vibe, and it ended up working for what they wanted to do.
Good evening.
You just brought up, like the hip hop beef, East Coast, West Coast. Where do you consider the best heavy metal to come from?
West Coast.
West
for sure.
Coast.
West Coast, right?
Well, that depends on your metal. If you want thrash metal, West Coast. If you want death metal, East Coast.
Florida.
So there is a difference between the two.
Yeah.
There's a subtle difference because you look at a lot of-
Hardcore metal is New York, Boston, the New
Yeah.
England area.
there's a lot of bands that ended up in I hate to bring up hair metal, but Poison, Cinderella, Firehouse, they were all from this area.
Midwest, right?
What's that?
Midwest.
No,
Is that what-
Pennsylvania.
Okay. What's Pennsylvania considered? What would you call that area?
Rural.
The north. I mean, is
Chocolate Town.
north. I guess just the north.
North,
right?
yeah. It's
Northeast. No, northeast is New York, Boston, right?
mid Atlantic.
Middle
They're right above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah.
So you guys go with the West Coast because those are the bands you tend to like more than these. Just saying.
Yeah.
Am I? And just in your guys' opinions, you like the West Coast more.
Yep.
You need
Bon
to get your
Jovi,
ass
that's
over
another
there.
one.
Then. You know that? Get out of here. We don't want you here, man. You need to go.
That's not nice.
But speaking of the death metal scene, that was something that Darren had brought up in his development as a musician. He went as a teen. He got into, after the thrash scene, Metallica, all that. He got into bands like Death, Cannibal Corpse, and then he started listening to some of the black metal bands. But as he got older, he started to get into the more technical stuff, like the classic, like the Beatles, and which influenced his writing, I think, beyond this album for sure. But the death metal, you can for sure hear the influence. Death metal, thrash metal, all that, you can hear the influence throughout this album.
Counts as Europe.
Yeah, that counts as here. That counts as the United Kingdom.
Only on your channel. Only on your channel.
Did someone say influence? The other thing that I thought was pretty cool was the engineer, and I'm pretty sure this is the first album that we've covered that has had this. The engineer was actually a woman, and I think she did a phenomenal job. She take and as far as recording the vocals, she would wherever it would fit for a certain song, she would record it wherever it would need to be. She recorded them in a bathroom, she recorded them wherever, and I think in my ears it worked. Whatever she did worked, so she needs to keep doing it.
Yeah, I agree. The production of this album it's spot on, man. It's great.
Sylvia Massey was her name.
How many albums did this sell?
This was, it was kind of, at first, I guess would be considered a niche band because it did well, but it didn't really start doing extremely well until Toxicity came out. And then right away it was a platinum album.
That's like what I told you.
Mm-hmm.
This album put them on the map. You know, people recognized them on this album, but when Toxicity and the album after that came out, they just exploded in the mainstream.
Yeah, to date, it's sold. It's been certified double platinum. It initially peaked at 124 on the Billboard 200. It peaked at number 1 on the top heat seekers. There was, I don't know if it was a re-release or what, but in 2020, the Billboard 200s, it peaked again at 113. So it gained a little bit of ground. What are you laughing at?
Bro, Comic Journey, bro. Comic Journey's comment, dude.
I don't know shit about Twitch.
I was on his channel on Friday, and Kyle swears that he took a nut shot from a woman with an aluminum bat straight to the nuts and walked it off.
That sounds like a Primus.
Bro, it was so funny, bro. It was like I couldn't. Oh my god, it was crazy. Oh no, it's all good.
Oh yeah,
it's all good. It's just another.
This though, he's heard worse from me.
And
He
me.
knows about nut shots.
With an aluminum baseball. Oh wait, this isn't. We're not talking about Primus.
No, we're not talking about Primus.
No. The singles were Sugar and Spiders, probably two of the most well known from the album. They peaked at 31 and 25 respectively. And Spiders was featured on the Scream 3 soundtrack, as well as there was something else it was featured on. Rock Band. And to me, Spiders kind of stands out because it sounds similar to what they did on Toxicity. So kind of maybe a I can't think of the word. Like a foreshadowing of what they had planned in the future. Do the cover here.
I read the backstory on the cover. It's pretty cool. Oh god.
So simple. The cover artwork is from a 1928 anti-fascist poster designed by John Hartfeld for the Communist Party of Germany. The original text was, "A hand has 5 fingers. With these 5, grab the enemy." So it's kind of a statement.
Yeah,
for sure. It says that the slogan inspired part of the text contained on the back of the album. I'll show that too. There's a pretty good sized paragraph on the back. The band has 5 fingers. capable and powerful with the ability to destroy as well as create, which in and of itself is a powerful statement, because I guess there's a couple different directions you could go with that. I mean, this album could be a success, it could be a failure. Things that we could talk about could ignite change. They might, for the better or for the worse, who knows. And then it goes on to say, open your eyes, open your mouths, close your hands, and make a fist. So I guess in essence, stand up, take a stand for maybe what's right.
Yeah.
And that goes into a lot of the subject matter that they wrote on the album, that, dealing with religion and government influence, brainwashing, you name it. They took it on in the 13 tracks on this album. And I never used to notice that when I listened to the album, that there was 13 on it, because it flowed really well. Not that it sounds like a concept album, but it does. To me, it from one song after the other, it flows really well.
Yeah, the first time I heard it, it was really hard to distinguish songs from each other, just how well it bleeds in almost. But
when I listened to it, it was really hard to tell the different songs. It felt like it was just one long song.
Again, simple. I'm not exactly sure what the picture is on the back.
Is that like legs?
I always thought it was kind of like a computer chip or something. That's what I always interpreted as,
Magnified.
With the technology and all the stuff that brings with it,
I immediately thought it was the Rockettes. We're gonna start.
But yeah, this whole thing is a paragraph about, call it a mission statement, I guess. Century nears its formidable end. Our global experience of universal proportions, predicted by many greats, will arrive at our solar system, to our system of a down, authoritarian oppression, family abuse, all of the subject matter that they wrote about in the music is in this statement on the back. And the track titles are just short and sweet. No real meaning, or maybe it's hidden meanings, like sweet pea or no or sugar.
Yeah, short one-word titles mainly.
Yeah, and
it's kind of crazy that they have like a, what would you call it? A PSA announcement or whatnot, but at the same time, like political and stuff. But at the same time, the album sounds super fun. You know what I mean? Like, I guess they're singing about serious stuff, but on the other hand, the album's just, to me, it sounds fun.
Mm.
It looks like it sounds like they had fun with it, right?
I mean, that's what I get out of it. To me, it just sounds fun, just because it's all over the place. The sound changes all the time, and I don't know. It definitely wasn't the style that was going on at the time.
No.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
With the new metal, how everything was serious, or I mean, I guess you can take that as serious too, but to me their sound was on this album
it stood out.
Yeah, to me it wasn't like serious, upsetting emo type crap. They sound like they're just having a good time making metal.
You could get you get that from hearing it, definitely. But they were excited to try different things. They were trying all this kind of, like you say, in one song he changes his voice from this to that. I think they were just having fun. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And to have Rick Rubin do it, wow.
Yeah. I had no idea they were on American Records. Open print, like, oh, wow.
It was released on American and Columbia, and they had so much said about that because Malakian in particular was a huge Slayer fan, and not only to have Rick Rubin, who had a long-standing partnership with Slayer, but to end up on Ozfest, kind of. I can't remember if Slayer was on that tour, but
they were. Yeah, they were.
Okay,
they were. I think that they were. We actually just looked at that. That was they were on the European Ozfest lineup.
Okay.
But they weren't on the US lineup.
Okay. So in essence, they were kind of traveling in their footsteps.
Right. And they were right off the shooting line, because this literally the same year the album come out. What was it, like a month or two later, they're playing Ozfest?
Yeah.
Impressive. But that was the song Sugar too. That's what kind of catapulted them guys to stardom.
Yeah, they had their catalyst, and it got enough attention to bring in a high power producer and put them on a tour, and the album stands out. And not only does it stand out, I think it stands up, because a lot of the same things, unfortunately, a lot of the same things topics that they had, they're still relevant, whether it be church corruption or the one that stands out to me mostly because of their Armenian descent is the Armenian genocide, committed by the Turkish government around the turn of the 20th century, which still isn't acknowledged or what have you, or denouncing of, they denounced it, but it seems like anybody or anytime it might be brought up, it's like cast aside. And it shouldn't be.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't no big deal. It really was.
Right.
It's down.
I mean, it was a big deal because they, you think about that genocide. I mean, you go anywhere else, specific times or places that atrocities like that have happened, but not a lot of people are familiar with that topic, and it's sad. So for them to be bringing these things to the front, and to have that notice to be noticed like that.
Yeah, awareness, bringing awareness to.
Yeah,
The voice.
incredibly important. Incredibly important. As far as reception, the album received acclaim from music critics. Q, does that even exist anymore? Called it an excellent starting point for this most curious band. It's featured in 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die, and Loudwire included the album in its list of best metal debut albums at number 22.
Wow.
And they did Loudwire did a pretty good article I read earlier on the album's impact, and so forth, not just genre wise, but industry, their careers. That's terrible. I don't think so. I think they still. I think that they're still that unique. Because you have other bands that come out, like Slipknot, for instance. They're not the only band that sounds like Slipknot. To me, there is only one band that sounds like System of a Down, and that's System of a Down. Just because of the vocals, the way he's able to change, just so suddenly, and the way they're able to incorporate the music to change at the same time. Just that if everything fits, it's cohesive. And Jim, you said you haven't heard the Hypnotized, Mesmerized. I definitely check them out. They're good.
Okay.
Especially the first of the two. I can't remember which one's which. I think it's Hypnotized. The change ups in that album are ridiculous.
Is that Biggie?
Hey, Biggie.
And even those 2005, those came out. And I do know they released a single 2 years ago, I think. But I don't know that they have any plans to do anything further. I thought they said they were writing new music, but there's a number of bands that are writing new music that haven't for a while. King Diamond being one. But
And their drummer is the owner of Torpedo Comics, right?
I think so. He's co-owner, part owner. He's involved in it somehow.
So that's cool.
Partner, I don't know.
He's into comics. I think that's good.
Song wise, for me, I don't I don't know about you guys, but there's not a miss.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a single miss on this album. This is one of those albums. Just I can't pick a bad one.
Yeah, I agree. And I always say, man, if you can get an album that's good from start to finish, that's an album that definitely deserves to be on, say, a top 100 or whatever type of chart you have. You know, it's definitely a great album. It's hard for me to pick a good song, but like we mentioned it earlier, as far as one of the top songs I like is the D Devil.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of mentioned that one earlier with the little pig snort, and
I want to go back and listen to that. I didn't catch the pig snort.
Yeah,
it's on D Devil.
yeah.
He kind of does a little he and then snorts at the end. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that song has a lot of energy, man. It's on point.
All these songs have a lot of energy.
Energetic. I don't know if I could think of any other word to describe the album.
Yeah. Yeah, Sugar and Darts, I guess, are the ones that stand out the most, besides D Devil to me. The freaking the kombucha mushroom people sitting around all day.
Who can believe you?
And there again, there's the change ups.
Yeah, with the death metal growl and
just I don't want to say it insanity, but it is. It's pure insanity.
Did you get to hear the hidden tracks on them? I heard the one Marmalade.
I don't know.
Which I think
Were
were those on there? I don't remember
they
who.
were.
I think they put those on the Japanese edition.
Yeah,
It says here.
there's the limited edition too, but that's just live stuff.
Mhm.
Was there a song on here that somebody was rapping? No, right?
No.
Okay. I don't know what. I started listening to some heavy thing with the rapping. I must have clicked on the wrong thing, and I thought it was them, and then I could never find it again. So I figured that's why. I just clicked on something.
You know, they probably did. I know Nine Inch Nails did this with a couple albums, where if you rip the DVD or rip the CD, other songs would be on it pretty much. Or like if you put in the computer and I guess went through it, there'd be extra tracks and stuff.
But Iron Maiden did that
Yeah.
years ago when they re-released a bunch of stuff. They had like you put it in the computer and it had extra shit on it.
Remember when they used to do that with CDs? They would give you extra stuff to.
Yeah.
It was almost like at the time it was like incentive for you to buy the CD because you get like all this extra stuff that you could put it in the computer.
And they made sure they put the sticker on the cover.
Yeah.
It said with bonus CD-ROM features.
I remember I had one for the Doors. It was like a best of, or it was something with what it showed. The extra stuff on the computer showed them making maybe it was American Prayer, one of those. I can't remember. It was one of those, but they showed the making of one of the videos that they had put music to for Jim's poetry.
Mm-hmm. That sounds cool.
Don't do that stuff no more.
Yeah, they don't do nothing like that no more.
Good old
Yeah.
days.
Do they even have CDs anymore?
Barely.
They got vinyl.
Yeah.
They got cassette. They're even making 8-tracks.
Speaking of vinyl, I got me a new vinyl recently. I'll have to share with you guys at the end of the show.
All right.
I love how that Misfits poster's like perfect and it's all lit up and looks good.
Yeah, black light.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Looks a lot better in person.
I'll have to come over.
You won't.
Why, bro? Why not?
Why not?
I never got into System of a Down. This is the first time I've really listened to them, except for those two, Chop Suey and Toxicity.
Mm.
Yes, I heard those on the radio. I just wasn't into this kind of music. I love that you guys love it. It just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me. Not saying that it wasn't well produced. It wasn't. It just when this came out, I just wasn't pissed off anymore. I don't know. If I would have heard it younger, I think I would have been into it. But when this came out, I was listening to Radiohead. I was listening to hip hop. I was just in a whole different. My kids were little. I wasn't listening to music as much. But this, I can imagine this show has to be crazy when they play.
Can you imagine?
It has to be nuts.
I've always thought of this, like when they were real small, having them open for your band, like they stole the show. It's like, why even go out? Like,
you would think that's what would. I'd be scared to be in the mosh, bro. Honest. I think it would be total chaos at one of their shows. Kind of like Rage. I think Rage's mosh pit must be freaking bonkers. And so I do appreciate that. It's just, I don't know. It seemed like everything's just, I couldn't tell the difference in the songs a lot of times. That's what kind of got to me. You know?
We respect that.
It's all good, man.
It's good.
I'm gonna pick a Donna Summers album
Ah,
and I can't wait for you guys to hear that. Or Moby. I was into Moby when this came out. I should have picked Play by Moby. See how much you guys like that. It's all good, dude. It's all music. We all love it. That's why there's so many. It's like comics.
Donna Summers was the bomb. Yeah, Donna Summer had a great voice.
She was the bomb.
Yeah.
What's up,
I
Booker?
think they're making a movie about her. I thought I seen a trailer.
I think you're right. I think I saw that too. I think you're absolutely right on that.
Who aren't they making movies about?
Want to go see it together, guys, or we'll get together and go watch the Donna Summer? No, isn't it? They're doing a Whitney Houston one too, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, they did do Whitney Houston.
I love Moby. What's up, Naman?
Nah, man. Anyway.
But I like System of a Down for this album. The other albums I kind of not as interested in.
You know what I like about them too? That they are political. And they came out of a country that so much, all that stuff happened.
Mm.
And they came out with this. So I'm glad that makes me respect them even more. So, and it's weird that you said that the singer was 8 years older. It doesn't seem like such a big difference, but when you're that young, you're in your 20s and you're hanging out with high school kids, that's a big difference, bro.
Yeah.
That's a big gap. So that's pretty cool. Which one we doing next? Donna Summer, baby. We're doing Donna Summer. I feel love.
Boston. Oh.
hey.
All right. If not, we'll do the Bee Gees.
Journey.
Speaking of Bee Gees, have you guys heard the DGs?
No.
Dave Grohl did a Bee Gees cover album, and it's amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta look that up.
Please listen to it. You'll like it.
I'll look it up. I like when artists do covers
This sounded so good. When I heard it, I said, "No way, that's David Grohl," because like he had the pitch and everything. Is like,
Oh, I gotta hear that.
it's so good.
They did a cover of John Rafferty. What's that song that he has? Baker Street. Have you guys ever heard that by the Foo Fighters? Look up Baker Street by the Foo Fighters, man. It's freaking pretty badass.
I like that song. Silk Stockings.
Dude, I love that song. I love that song, dude. All right. Big money, big money.
Spin that wheel.
Big money. Big money.
Oh,
Out come the wolves.
Out come the wolves.
that's
Right.
a good one. Wait a minute.
What album is that? Out come the wolves. Who's that?
Rancid.
Rancid. Okay.
This sounds amazing.
It's good. You guys are in for a treat with this one.
A lot of good dance crews.
Yeah.
First song.
You got a little like ska reggae punk sound going on.
Cool.
Yeah. This album has probably one of the best bass players ever in it.
Oh, awesome. I can't wait to hear that. I love listening to
Matt.
bass.
Matt Freeman.
Yeah, there's a bass solo on the first song, and it is
Nice.
awesome.
It's fire.
So good. So
What's up, Chad?
this one's gonna be good.
So,
So 2 weeks. Rancid.
works
Out
for
come the
me.
wolves. I might have to talk to my one friend, see if he'd be interested in coming on with us. I think he likes.
Is this their first album?
No.
This is their second.
Their second?
No,
Third.
This
I
is
think
their
it's their
third
third album.
95.
Who's good? Sounds good. Donna Summer's coming fast, baby.
Not Donna Summers.
Oh boy.
No, B-52s, B-52s.
Okay.
What's up, Turd? B-52s. And this is happening now. Yeah, baby. Looking forward to those two albums you guys are gonna have. Mind blown, baby. I know Donnie already listened to it and he's already excited to talk about them. Can't wait.
Which one?
This is happening now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was.
I tried to go.
I need to listen to it again though.
I should have put out. I should have grabbed the Radiohead album, stayed with Radiohead, but I just wanted to do something different. So we'll get into that.
All right.
We're good to go.
Yes. So this was System of a Down. If you've never heard it, go check it out. I promise you, it is worth your time, if not for a new, unique experience. Next up, as I said, 2 weeks, same time. Rancid's Out Come the Wolves. This is going to be a new one for me. I think I've heard maybe some songs on it, maybe one or two.
I'm sure you have, because
my buddy's he's a tattoo artist and he's always got an open playlist playing in the shop and I thought I perused the album on YouTube and I thought one or two of the songs sounded familiar, so I'm not sure, but
This is totally new for me. So
yeah, this is their, I guess, their biggest album. Has all their main songs in it. The one before it's really good.
So is this the album where they sold out?
No, they I don't think they have sold out. No,
That's debatable, I guess.
Indestructible maybe.
That was a good album, though.
Yeah, they're one of those
About in
bands.
2 weeks.
Their sound really never changed, honestly.
No, they have gotten very popular, but
I've never heard. I don't believe I've ever heard any other stuff. So I'm
like
looking for
late '90s punk, they're like top 4.
Top 1.
Top 1, yeah.
Man, that was good, Bo. You just cracked it. That's how I heard it. That was nice, son. That was a good one. Ah. Like it.
Yeah.
All right. Now I want to thank everybody who popped in the chat. K-Pop, Fish Cat, Miss So, first one in here. Naman, good to see you. Comic Journey, Biggie Shack.
Thank you so much.
Anybody who watches on the rewind, thank you so much. I hope the show is informative, and I apologize for my lack of enthusiasm tonight. I had a rough night, had a rough day. Rough morning. So we'll see you on the next show, and in the meantime, get out there and listen to some music.
Heck yeah.
Peace out.
Oh.